Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Redcollarwolf here to show you basic Tilemap. What is the Tilemap? That's what I'm going to show you, the basics of the Tilemap. So yeah, this is all done with the Tilemap itself. Tilemap is basically a grid, and the tile is what occupies the grid. Imagine it like the tiles in your kitchen or in your bathroom. Each one has a bit of spacing to make its own tile, but in this, all of it's connected. You can also have a whole tile not occupied by just one thing. Sometimes you can have it smaller than the tile, which is what's done on this glass, which is done in the foreground. See, that's foreground number 2, I think. See how this is not completely occupied? You can see the orange square around. So I'll be showing you some basics of the Tilemaps, and also I'll show you a little hack I find with the Tilemaps. Making houses like this real easy to build, and if you're willing to put in the effort, it will save you a whole lot of time in the long run of building stuff. It will be more effective than putting these tiles down one at a time. Unlike most previous amends I've used, like Uni's probably the one I've been using, you can't with Godot, you can't grab a mass amount of tiles. You can't go to your buildings and go, oh, that's the parent. Also, another tip for your Tilemaps is that you should give them a parent to go off, so you use them like folders. I haven't really found a folder option, or some just blind, which could be a possibility. See here, go to your words and everything. Gotta go make words one at a time, and a pain in the ass. So that's basic Tilemaps for you, but I will show you something better. And I remember how big these are. So easy to see Tilemaps let's go into here. So how you make a Tilemap is that you go to add node. So imagine this is your scene world. So you go to your node, add your Tilemap. Here is your new Tilemap. And then you go new tile set. Then you click into there. And you lift this up, and then you have to add something inside. Let's go. Let's see what we got here. And then now you can either make an atlas or an auto tile. An auto tile is something that's going to take you more effort, but atlas is where you can place the individual tiles. So whenever you have a tile map like this, you can choose to just use this or use this. Although this is a 64 by 64. Usually during Tilemaps you use from the range of use your 4x4s. I've rarely seen anyone else do otherwise. So usually use your 16 by 16, 32 by 32, and 64 and 128 pixels is what you generally use. You usually stay around the 32 and the 64, which my game base is in 64. This is your game base. Doesn't mean your whole game has to be in the same grid or in the same pixel. But if you want to make a different size tile map, you have to make a new tile map. See, now we got this down. Make sure to save that. This is saving it. So this is a new atlas. And with your new atlas, you can go to here and simply build. Oh, that's the wrong one. This is a bit of the finicky part with this too, is fixing this up. And voila. And then you could save this as its own little node. And you can also save this Tilemap too. Oh, I did the wrong button. It's a bit of a pain in the ass to save. Save it too, as whatever name you want. I've already got timelapse ready, set, and go, but I'm just showing you how to do the basics with it. That's what I said I will do. And so I will. And then you can just change the tilemap whenever you want to be. See, I'll go ahead and, let's see. I need to find all of my stuff for this one. I have a Kelsey. Because I have many objects. See, this is a small one. So this is 16 by 16. And this one is your common 64. See, it disappeared because I did not have the time on here. See, you put your doors together. I like, so the method I'm doing here, I'll show you something. So you see the advanced object. You don't do this to all the objects like the fence, because the fence is not always in the same, let's say, same size. Anything that will keep its size, you want to do this method to. So let's go with one of these roofs here. This is the roof to one of my game sheds. So we gonna get this up here. Oh, it doesn't want to cooperate with me right this second. Here we go, now it does. And we knock it down 1, 2. And it's also a tip with the tile map. They always won't have, the tile maps can be as big or as small as you want. See now, oh whoops, I override that. See now you have a, now we call this glay with, oh whoops, oh I kept putting the double R's in there. Workshop. Go with workshop. And I'll put work start. Yeah, you got start. And you can rename tile map you want it, but it doesn't really matter too much unless you want to make the child within the main world you're doing. Oh, this is not where I'm meant to be putting this. So change objects and building parts. So I've made parts. So imagine it like layers. This is how you're meant to properly do a lot of stuff, especially when you're dealing with layers, is that your background, your foreground, and your characters are meant to be on different layers. Imagine buildings like this. Your windows are on a different layer, so you can put them in better positions. And with this method, you wouldn't have to, especially a method I'm going to show you. Not a method. Because in general tile map, if you do it on one big tile, you have to worry about being precise when you're making the tile maps for a third-party software. Oh, and this is also a good example of a 32 by 32. So as you can clearly see from what I'm saying is my game isn't just done in one base pixel. I guess the pixel 64 is the base for everything, like the glass and everything, and the landscape. Sometimes I think I still had the mountains in 64 too. But some of the smaller detail, like small bits of glass, or torches, or these lights are done in 64. Those big lights. Small detail stuff is usually done in 16. Like all the flowers are done in 16 by 16. And I think it's automatic set it to 16 by 16. I don't know why. And something like the signs are done in 32 because they aren't very big, but they aren't very small. They're in the middle. And you can see how I get pretty chaotic. I don't know, what am I meant to be doing? I'll just save it here. I can't be bothered to go ahead and find it. And then we can keep the node, or we can change it to a static body. And for this method that I'm showing you right now, I know I'm actually not showing yet, you could just do a static. There we go. And then you gotta add a collider. then you add a collider. But you don't add a collider to a roof. And then you just go do the shape up here. And then your basic collider so the player can't just be a maniac. Although I do have to add a collider to tell Godot that someone's under here, so blow it out a bit. So I might keep this around actually. So you don't normally just cover this all up because someone's got to go behind it. Which is why the buildings are... We've got open up house. Let's go with the first blue one. See? This one is done in multiple layers. This one has its own door layer, window, stairs, and its own little shadow object. So shadow for the roof, the ground, which you can't really see the roof, and the chimney. And it's got its own light tile map. And this here is a tile map itself of the building base. And the roof is a tile map too. Whatever the heck it is around here. I guess it's within here. So this is a building base. And this is it. I'm sorry if I'm losing you here, but that's basically how I end up doing it. And if you're willing to put that work in there, how far? See, this is a fair few tiles to put down, like one at a time, or do the outline and then cover it in. All I have to do with this method is simply jag it out. All I could do is do this and then place it down somewhere. Although I haven't really ran into any problems either. The biggest problem is, the one problem I ran into is, I think because I made this node different type of node, which this node should be a wire sort. Don't make that same mistake. I'll make it into a normal node so you can make it into a pen folder. And some of the buildings default back to where they were. But if you're clever about it, see this one did here. I got to enable children. So you enable children to edit out here and about. You can try this. I haven't ran into many. That's the real problem I've ran into with this method. And then you replace the sign with that. So this sign layer is a 32 by 32. And that is an object of itself, which will help you later too. And then if you make a change to one of these building base or to the roof here, it will change everything. It will. Instead of going back and changing all things. And so it would change the texture, or if you add a bit of shadows or something to it, or a bit of extra stuff to it, it will change. But usually if you're going to add your details, which I'm now realizing this is not in center, but okay. But if you're going to change the detail, but if you're going to add details, add it in the after bit. And also, I reckon probably making these in the game objects means it's easier to code later. So these are basically mini scenes. And I'm going to keep that collider there because I got to change it into... I got to have that collider there so the player, when the player comes into contact with it, it blows out a bit so you can see under it. And see how it doesn't have a collider covering the whole thing? So the player can get behind it. And it's on a Y sort layer, which is a bit complicated stuff here. If it's too complicated for you, this is the first thing video you're looking at to learn basic code. But I'm going, where's the map? Let's go to the foreground. I'm going to show you how to do the auto tile map. And already we're in the lovable mode. See here, when you do auto tiles, you end up with this. Something called a bitmap. So I just got to fix it up. See how this doesn't reach all the way to the end. And it's a bit like It's got a bit more of a one-y look to it. I find that looks aesthetically more pleasing than being perfect. You could do whatever the heck you want. It's up to you. But if I recommend, if you're doing this, make it a base, so then you change all your glass, unless you're having one type of glass, and keeping it simple. And you see, this is the basic pattern you need. So you just right click it on. Where is? Have I done this one? Yes, I do have. I need to go up here. I will show you how to do this from scratch, because it's the basics of Tilemap, and I don't really want a shortcut on it. And what's this one? We got two types of glass. Oh no. This one is a bit more of a drier glass. So we go to here. A single tile is this whenever you have a tile by itself. If you're wondering what that one is. Nothing too fancy. You gotta highlight what you want. This is what I want. And now you do have your navigation and collision. You can add collision this way if you want to, but that tends to take longer. But add it to like something like your fences, to something where you have to use the Tilemap to change its size universally, instead of like what you do for buildings, where you can just build the house as a game object and that's it, and then put the collider on there. Simple stuff. And you can also change the icon to being here, so then you don't get confused. But apparently it doesn't change this icon, so icon right here. It changes the icon when you're placing the glass down too. Don't worry about that. It's all good. And this one's just for whenever you're doing the C arches, which you don't really use if you're doing 2D. And poly is whenever you. I tried to hack the system with auto tile plus this, but it didn't really turn out. This is whatever tile has more poly. And the bitmap's what we're looking at today. And I think that's the lighting one, which I don't know much of. And navigation. But this one here is... Oh, I wonder if the navigation one can change. I'm probably have to add that properly. Change the fast you can go or something like that. Add that properly some other time. Here is the bitmap. So you're going to change it to free. And change this free, I think it is too. Not that free. And you got to do this, do the four corners here. So that means that one has to be here, here, and here. I don't know about that. And here too. And you got the one over here, over one here. Basically, just don't do this last box. So you keep a one off from the edge. And then you do this for the middle, because that's all where it's going to go, and that one directly in the middle. So it's cover itself up in the middle there, and then you got to do this one very weirdly. See, I made a base for this glass, so that most of the glass for this looks the same. And you'll do it here because it's edge. Do a square around here. Now you got two in here because that is a flat side, so that means it's not an edge. And you gotta go for here, do two. And you gotta do this here because it's not a flat. No, I mean it is a flat. And this one here, you gotta do everything but this middle bit because it's a middle. Then you gotta cover these two. You can't do the ones back here because that's an edge, and cover that one and that one. So you've done the basics one here, and this one's a bit complicated, but now I'm realizing I basically gave you an easy way of telling what not to cover them with. So if any edge like this, you don't put a red one on top of it or near it. It has to be flat, it has to be straight like that, so it's a flat edge. And that one has to be a T. Here, only for the middle. And then you got to cover this because it's a straight edge. And then you gotta cover up this. And this here. And you go through for here. And this one's a weird mistake. See, I made a mistake doing there, so I had to get rid of that. To get rid of it is right click if you don't know how to do that. Oh, I've got to get rid of those two. And cover that in. So it's a pretty weird shape. And you've got to cover that in. See, that one comes to a flat edge. That one is counted. But when I was looking for Tilemap, basics of Tilemap, I didn't really find many videos and stuff. See, this is how you do it. Take a screenshot of that so you remember how to do it instead of having to come back to everything. I mean, I wouldn't mind if you come back to this video, but for your own sake, you probably want to take a screenshot. I believe, make sure it's in this one. We're about to figure out if I'm right about that, and then we just click on your foreground. Back to your tilemap. And here we go. Oh. I just realized I probably should have gave it the middle icon. See how I had different icons, and so we go back here. We change it to this icon. I forgot about that. That icon does look way better. Also got the concrete where I try to do the poly stuff of it, but that did not turn out too well. See, it didn't quite work. Ooh, I wonder what happens when I put this on too. Ooh, no. Yeah, let's save that. You gotta figure out by trial and error, see if I can do it right, because then it won't look like a giant mess. Because I wanted to add a bit of a feeling that some of it might be added away or something like that. And all that's probably one. So we got the foreground here. See, this is a drier type of glass. It's not really in this area, but it will work. And that didn't work because that was on foreground too. I will put this on top. Top is 64 by the look of it. Now let's find a little area. I'll just undo that. If you don't know how to do undo, is Control C or Command C if you're on, or Command Z if you're on Apple. Oh, also that must have been the wrong line. And I also came by a problem I thought I might have solved. Now, time to go to here. You click here, you see how it was blurry? We're gonna make that not blurry. We are doing pixel delay, my friend. We aren't doing you. So, I don't know what. Here we go. I was thinking, why is it not letting me click on it? So you gotta go to the percent, and you gotta get 2D, and then we import. And now it looks all nice and fancy. Instead of bloody whatever the heck that was, I don't know what that one was. Oh god, one layer. And that's how you do the tilemap too, is basically draw it in with the right click and delete it with the other click. And you got the full tool. Be careful utilizing that. You do not want to overkill it, because overkill means you end up in problems. Like, this is too much to fill in. And this one was to sample the goods. See, now I got that part back. And this one is a selective tile, so you can put more than one down. I don't know. It's okay affecting this, but I don't recommend doing it with houses. That's why I recommend the other method, making a game object out of it, so you make your houses faster. You don't have to make game objects out of game objects. That just makes there to make it faster for you to make. Especially if you don't have too many houses to light. I'm gonna go to the foreground here. Oh, I must have taken on someone else. Where do I put it on? And then put it on there. I must have put it on middle. When did I put it on? Like, seriously. Oh, I did put it on middle. And okay. Maybe not. No, I checked on top, didn't I, Einstein? You see this is the glass variety here too. And that's all they're drawn together, and you can see a problem has occurred. And it's because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I did use the wrong one. It was the other free one. This free one. It has to be with the M1 in it, okay? Now you'll take a screenshot of that again. Helpful. I know I'm so good. Home reward for me. And now it shall work perfectly. Unless you did something wrong with the boxes. Then you have to go back and fix that up. That's the best thing about this one. You can do these auto tiles. And these trees here are objects down there too. So I just put that in there. And you can see they mean that a shadow has been connected to them. And why I did that shadow was just not change it to pixel perfect. See, actually no, I did this one a different way. I added in the frames in each one, but basically it originated for Tilemaps. Tilemaps is your basic building block for most games I've seen. I haven't really seen many games without it. In some way, they will always use it. Even if it's a 3D city builder, it will still use the tilemap in some way. So it's one thing you should understand and learn its ways. It's not really that hard to learn its ways. Especially if you've done a lot of layers. Imagine that your tilemap like layers. So with the tilemap, not all will fit on one layer. Sometimes you gotta make new layers, and sometimes you gotta make smaller layers for those smaller details. Like here, see how the glass and the rocks have their own little shadows and details. See, add another rock in for the smaller details. And then anything goes on top for your bigger details. And you see here, this is plants. I made these into game objects and I'll put them down here. Let's zoom out. I didn't realize how big this world is still then. You see here, you think I put this all down at once? No, you know what I did? Was I made it. I guess in some way. Kind of did once, but I did that once. I put a row down of this and I started to build upon that with the selection tool, which could be very helpful for if you go put multiple amounts. And then I changed the different heights and everything because anybody knows about glowing, these things aren't glowing at the same time. You're not that magical. And this went on longer than I expected to too. And we got the plants, point objects, there's a tilemap there. So tilemap for small plants and bigger plants. You don't have to keep saying tilemap, you just gotta have a base tilemap. And here are the objects. Oh, that's a single, and here's a field. See? And if I wanted to make these fields bigger, all I had to do was move them close together, overlap them, and give you the illusion that it's big. So if you're doing something like fields like this, you give it to a most common small size you're using. Isn't too big, so then you have the versatility to make it big, and then later on delete some of it. So I hope you enjoy this basic look at the tilemap. This one goes somewhat okay, and then I might make a bit more tutorials when I'm confident if I can do it. So I hope you enjoy this video, and I'm Redcollarwolf now. And I'm now out. Thank you for watching.